Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the return for The Walking Dead in Season 9's second half in 2019. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on lots of recent stuff that's been going on with Walking Dead, Fear, comics lately. But we'll start things off with giving our thoughts on The Walking Dead television series characters being basically completely different, or The Walking Dead television series being completely divergent from the comics at this point. And spoiler warning, if you guys are not caught up for the Walking Dead television series, I'll keep it relatively, spoiler-free for the comics. There's been some big stuff going on recently with the comics, specifically the release this week. If you guys missed some of the videos this week, I'll have them in the end-screen videos for you, so you can check them out here. The Walking Dead issue review for 186, you got to watch that one if you want to know kind of what's coming up in the future of the Walking Dead comics eventually. And of course, it's going to, in some way, affect the TV series, if the TV series even gets to that point where they adapt that issue, which we'll have to see if it does. And then there was some news this week for Fear the Walking Dead, which I did a video on yesterday, which we'll get into some of your guys' feedback about the news that we're going to have both Daniel and Troy returning. It's not spoilers. This is officially news. This is out there. This is out in the open. It's not locked up or been leaked out. It's been just everybody knows. It's been told. AMC just let it go, right? Or the actors let it go. So it's what it is. So we know they're both going to be returning for Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. So we'll go into some comments for that afterwards. And then there's also the Overkill's Walking Dead game, which apparently has flopped big time to the point where I guess they're already offering it on sale, this kind of thing. And it's not looking good for that release. If you guys saw any trailers or anything for Overkill's The Walking Dead game. So we'll get into that in a bit. But first, I thought this was cool to start with, because in yesterday's issue, or the review I did yesterday for issue 186 of the Walking Dead comic book series, it's kind of crazy. As you're reading this issue through, almost every single character, almost every one, granted there's a couple here and there, there's like Michonne's still there, right, in both versions right now. But when you look at issue 186, some of the big storylines in the issue, I won't get into too much spoilers, but you have basically Carl with Lydia, which of course cannot happen in the TV series. You have Sophia, which of course cannot happen in the TV series because she, Carol's daughter, she's long since dead. So, that's one storyline that you have kind of a love triangle maybe starting. And it's not really confirmed yet, but it looks to be starting between Carl, Sophia, and Lydia. So Carl's with Lydia. Sophia and Carl have sort of grown up together in the zombie apocalypse, and Sophia maybe has feelings for Carl. Carl doesn't seem to be reciprocating because he's in a relationship with Lydia. So you have this storyline going on right now, which, again, like I said, 2 out of the 3 of them are dead in the TV series already, of course. So there's, you can adapt it, but you're not going to use the same characters probably, like, at all. The only character you might use is Lydia, and the other 2 is, like, not at all, right? Because they're gone. And then the main storyline of the issue, which of course is basically dealing with Rick, Dwight. Then we have Governor Milton, which, okay, she could be Georgie. We'll have to see if that's, it looks like her, right? So something like that. And then there's Michonne involved there too, and Mercer. But it's like you watch the Walking Dead TV series through, and it's literally like no Rick, no Carl, like all these characters are going through. No Dwight. You're reading the Walking Dead comics now, and it's basically gotten to the point where the 2, I would say, in terms of the characters at least, have kind of completely separated. Like, completely, to the point where it's like the Grimes family's not the same deal. You don't have Rick, even though Rick is still at the forefront of almost every issue of the Walking Dead comic book series. The TV series, of course, he's not there. He's going to the movies, and there's all that, but that's going to be completely different from the comic version. Carl's not there, so all the stuff surrounding Carl after this point, which actually, personally for me, this is so sad because I thought it was the best stuff in the comic book series for Carl. Like, Carl's been in the series a long time, but the stuff that was coming up that they were about to adapt, him getting into a relationship with Lydia, different stuff like this happening. They kind of adapted a little bit with Enid, I guess, if you want to think of her as like a TV series version of Sophia 2.0 or something. I guess you could. But it's just really crazy how when you read the Walking Dead comics nowadays, the 2 are so completely different. It's not even funny. I mean, the forefront characters in The Walking Dead, let's go with Daryl and Carol, our last season 1 survivors are still in the original series. Both don't exist in the same capacity in the comics. There was a Carol, but she was not anything like the Carol in the TV, not even close. Like couldn't be more different from the TV series version. And Daryl never existed, and Dwight's not there because he's been banished by Daryl, right? So it's really crazy to read now, man. When and here's one thing for you guys: if you guys don't like the recent direction the Walking Dead TV series has gone in the last couple of years with some of these, just the way the whole storyline has gone, try the comics because you might like it a lot better. In that you get to see. It's pretty cool when you look back at it now because you get to see Rick survive on through, you get to see Carl survive on through, and it's just like this cool baseline version of The Walking Dead now, and the TV series has become this just totally separate deal, which it's not like, even before they would remix some of the characters or they would do some of this stuff. They bring in the Whispers, so there's the same kind of villains coming in and this kind of deal. But especially with losing your main cast or losing, Andrew Lincoln for Rick and Carl, it's like, wow, man, you read the comics now, you're just like, none of these characters are in the, none of this can be adapted. What are they going to do? None of this. They're going to have to totally change it because none of this can be adapted in the same way as it was in the comics. It is now, the TV series version is going to be completely different, pretty much completely. So then the overkill stuff. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about that. Which version do you like better, maybe? Do you like the comic version better? We get to see Rick and Carl all the way through, even up to current date. Or do you like the TV series version better because you think, screw Rick and Carl. I like Daryl and I like Carol and it's worth it for that. And Michonne and all the parts she's getting that she didn't get in the comics. There was Andrea and stuff in the comics, so yeah, crazy stuff. So the overkill stuff. So overkill Walking Dead game. Apparently, it's just flopped like crazy. I guess Starbreeze is, the company that did it might be in jeopardy of going out of business or something. That's how bad it's flopped from the sounds of things. But I was talking about this recently with the Telltale games, and a lot of people, they point to different things. They point to the license fees and all this stuff and everything else, and maybe mismanagement and that kind of thing too. And it's like I guess if you fail to predict the market properly, then you've mismanaged, right? I guess that's just the way it goes. But it's kind of sad to hear, but it's just across the board, man. People get tired of stuff, and this is the thing we've been seeing with the Walking Dead TV series lately too. And it's is it when you watch the episodes through season 9's first half, do you really think that it's that much worse quality than what we saw in season 8 or season 7? At this point, I'm just I'm totally set on. I'm just saying no, man. It's just we're getting close to a decade after The Walking Dead started, and things come in, and sometimes they're they're not so popular after. Of course, they fizzle out eventually, right? So I think that makes the most sense. In addition, Overkill's game, I don't think they included any of the actual lead characters from The Walking Dead. They more used the brand name, I think, and try to create their own type of characters for their own kind of series. And that's fine, that's great and everything, but it looks like it did not work. So the link will be in the description to Eurogamer.net. You guys can check it out if you want to hear anything more about that latest Walking Dead game. I haven't played it myself, but I do kind of feel sorry for them because, a few years ago, The Walking Dead was the hottest thing in entertainment. It and Game of Thrones were at the top in terms of North American, TV series. If you talk season 6 and, season 7 as well, too. I mean, they were up there, but that was it, man. It's sad if they would have released it just back then, a couple years ago, it probably would have done just fine. But it's you missed the boat, man. It's too late now. That ride is on its way down, and unfortunately, yeah, man, that sucks. Calvin624 says, Q&A, Trev. Do you think the Walking Dead movies will work? The reason Rick worked in the series is because he had proven himself to be a leader. So without a team to lead, will the movies work? Or will they solve this by having Rick lead a new group of red shirts? So it's going to be difficult for them to, I think, to connect with new characters with the audience, of course, as it's always been. But at least they're doing something different. At least they're switching things up. It might work out to their advantage in the long run anyway. Maybe the worst thing they could do, even with Rick leaving this year and how risky that seemed to be and everything like that, maybe it was a good thing because by having the series be totally different, having even the leads of the series be completely different, you're going to breathe some fresh air into the show. And maybe that has something to do with Andrew Lincoln deciding to do that because maybe they know that they have to try to keep it as fresh as they can and really change things up because if they don't, people are going to get tired of it. Maybe that has something to do with Fear of the Walking Dead Season 4 and the mid-season finale death they had there too. Maybe that's part of what they're doing this year, and what they're kind of like trying to do is they're kind of trying to maybe revitalize The Walking Dead by switching so many things up. I think the movies will work because it's something that people haven't seen before, and it's something that's familiar enough, of course, as The Walking Dead is, but it's also new at the same time. Will The Walking Dead ever be as popular as it was back in season like 5, 6, and 7? Probably not. But at the same time, they're producing a lot more content for us, so they're going to capitalize on that license that they have, and I think it'll work just fine. Plus, it's better than killing them off. I mean, if you kill them off, that would have been way worse than doing this. This is definitely a better option than having just killed Rick off. A lot of us thought that's what they were going to do. A lot of us thought, I thought, when I read it, I'm like, so he's leaving? So you're going to kill him or what? You know, because we also just saw that with Frank Delane in Fear the Walking Dead last year. So, you know, if someone wants to leave, or Dale back in season 2 of The Walking Dead at the end of the season there, when he decided he wanted to leave, so they just, okay, well, we'll just have a zombie kill you. Cool. Okay. All right. I guess that's what we're doing. You know, Daryl will put him down. Sorry, brother. Jack Moore says, really smells like a Gimple idea. So this is kind of funny. I was reading the Walking Dead comic series yesterday. I was just thinking to myself, like, is Gimple helping Kirkman with these storylines for the comic? That's even helping him out. We just blame Gimple for everything, right? Like, everything that goes wrong or everything that people don't like, it's like, oh, it's Gimple. It's him. He did it. Shredder did it, right? He's a bad guy, right? He did it. So, you know, I really hope, I don't think he's involved with the Walking Dead comic series. Mr. Sanatra. Or the fear idea as well too, of bringing back the characters. You know, I don't know. So most people like it right now. Everybody likes the fact they're bringing Daniel back, so we'll say that. But not everybody likes the Troy idea. Some people like the Troy idea, but some people are like, dude, he's dead. You can't bring him back. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's a ridiculous bring back of someone who got his head smashed in with a damn hammer. Mrs. A. Natural says, do you think the recent comic death in the TV series will be taken by Daryl? I know the TV series remixes comic canon, so is it possible we will get a swurve and Daryl takes this death? So, and I won't spoil who the death was in the recent issue of the comics. It was a big one, though, so you can check out the video yesterday if you want to see that in detail and hear and see my reaction to it and everything like that, because it was a big one, very earth-shattering type of death in the Walking Dead comics this week. But it won't even necessarily need to be like a swurve. Like, they'll probably always use the Walking Dead comic book series as kind of a general, you know, plot for where they're going. But the fact that all the characters are totally different, it's not like they can kill off the same character from the comics because they're not there in the TV series. So it doesn't make it doesn't really. It's not something where you can really adapt it so closely. Like back in the day, in the early seasons of The Walking Dead, we always had Rick, we always had Carl. They mixed around the deaths. They did like Sasha in season 7, the second half, right? So they remixed all these things around. They changed the characters in and out for who they were going to kill. But now it's just like they're so different in the future. You know, the storyline's probably going to be more different than ever. Like the Walking Dead TV series is probably going to be more divergent and more different than it's ever been before, you know, compared to the comics. And maybe that's for good, and maybe that's not for good. I mean, think about the Rick, you know, idea with helicopter. That's completely different. That never happened in the comics. Nothing even close to that happened in the comics. So yeah, man, it's crazy stuff to see what they're doing, just the way things are kind of working themselves out. But I don't think you can say like, okay, it's going to be Daryl that'll be killed off in that place. It's like, I don't even know if that's really a thing anymore. Like, I hear what you're saying, kinda. They're going to want to adapt some of those moments from the comics to get, you know, because the fans know something big will be coming up, so they kind of mess with us by using those. But at the same time, it's like, you know, it can't even close to be the same. You know, it can't even be close to the same thing. All the characters are different pretty much, except for maybe the new ones because they just came in, like Magda and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, sure, but she just got here. Constable PDA says, when does Fear the Walking Dead Season 5 start in 2019? Or should I say the Morgan and Friends show? Yeah, exactly. We don't have an official air date yet for Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. We're thinking that it's probably either going to air right after the Walking Dead Season 9 ends, or because of Game of Thrones, they might try to purposefully avoid Game of Thrones runtime, which actually is very smart to do, you know, for AMC. Avoid Game of Thrones final season, because if you air at the same time slot or the same night as Game of Thrones final year, no one is going to watch Fear the Walking Dead. I'll just tell you right now, nobody, because Game of Thrones has become so big. It's basically like, it's like equivalent to Walking Dead in a lot of ways the way I view it. Except it's its final year, so it's going to be it's like the Rick leaving thing. You know, if Rick is leaving on Sunday, you're watching this through, you want to see his final episodes. You're not going to watch Fear over that or something. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, you can't do it. So they probably will try to avoid Game of Thrones, and I think they should. That's really smart, you know, to do it. As much as I hope we do see it right away, it's like if you have to schedule around the final seasons of Game of Thrones, the final season of Game of Thrones, do it. You kind of have to. I don't want to see Fear get like the worst ratings ever and then get canceled or something. They think, well, no one wants to watch this. It's like no one's going to want to watch anything when that's on. You know, again, it's like Rick's final episodes. Everyone's going to watch that. They're not going to watch Fear over that or something. It's not a fair comparison because it's Walking Dead to Walking Dead, but you guys get what I'm saying. Rosemary M says, I'm happy about Daniel. Him in scenes with Morgan will make strong scenes. And that's true. We're going to get to see Morgan meet some of these old school Fear characters. And of course, everybody's kind of holding out the hope, I think, right now, that maybe, just somehow, some way, they could bring Madison back. Could they do it? How could they do it? Would it make sense? We didn't see the death, did we? I don't know. We'll see. But I think she's doing another series now anyway. So I don't know. But I guess if they're going to bring Troy back, you know, I would, because when I look at the two and I think, well, who's more likely dead? Troy, who got his head bashed in by a hammer a couple times and is like laying in the middle of a place where this explosion flood came through and walkers were everywhere, or Madison, who we didn't even really see the death. We just saw her use the rest of her ammunition with, it was a flare or something. And then they just panned off and everyone just screamed no, right? So it's like, which one would be easier to make sense of? You know, personally, I think the her getting away from the walkers somehow makes more sense, right? But they're probably not going to bring her back because she's already left to do other series and stuff. Psychosis says, I wish they would bring back Taka, a.k.a. Walker. I really liked his character. I would probably say for Fear the Walking Dead. I don't think they're going to bring the Taka would come back. Now, granted, money talks, so if you're offering the guy a job, depending on what he's got going on, he may take it because maybe it'd be good money or whatever, so he might do it just for work. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you just do stuff because you want to earn and you're offered work, so you take the work, right? So there's always that. But based on his comments of Season 4 being totally unrecognizable of the prior seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, it sounded to me like he was not a fan of the direction they went in Season 4, and he doesn't like what they did with it. That's what I took from his comments in articles about what they did in Season 4. So I would highly doubt he would want to go back to that, considering what they did, unless they've got something really good for him, or he maybe, needs the work or something, or maybe I shouldn't say needs the work, but they offer him a lucrative deal, like they offer him a good amount, and he's like, well, I don't really want to do it, can you do any better? And then they give him real good, okay, let's do it. Something like that, you see what I mean? Like it's just work, right? You punch in, you punch out, right? You try not to get emotionally attached, you just punch in, punch out, you go on with your day, right? That type of deal. So I guess I shouldn't say that just because he probably wouldn't enjoy it, because he didn't like Season 4, from the sounds of things, that he wouldn't do it. He might do it anyway, even though it sounds like he didn't like what they did with it. So Kristen Alza says, is it really true? Is Troy really coming back? I thought Madison killed him in the dam. Yeah, we all kind of thought that. Well, there was a few people who said, I never thought Troy was dead. And I was like, really? You thought he survived that? Okay, well, maybe you're right. I guess I can't say you were wrong. You know what I mean? At this point, it's like you were right, I guess. So good for you, man. You called it. Anybody who thought he was still alive. Rebecca's Finest says, Q&A, Trev, if there is a team, there can be an awesome group of villains. I also heard that Madison might come back too. Well, yeah, like I said, I would really hope to see that. But if they come in as a group, like Daniel, Troy, and some other villains too, that could be really cool. But who'd be the top guy? Would it be Daniel or Troy? I don't know. That one's hard to say, right? Medieval Maniac said, what's the point? Only Alicia and Strand even knew them. And yeah, that's true. I hear what you're saying. You know, I did kind of give my thoughts on that before and say that for Daniel too, because he doesn't know that many people. But I don't know, man. We'll see what they got for Season 5. I can't wait to see the trailer. That's the biggest thing, because the trailer will give us a good idea of what we're looking at in terms of a look for this season for Fear. Crazy stuff. Dark Mako says, Troy died about 7 different ways. Hammer, drown, explosion, etc., etc. Zombies everywhere. And the last one will be from AF, who says, what the F, Trev? I enjoy your channel, but you straight up spoiled the show with this thumbnail and title for Daniel and Troy. But the reveal that Troy is alive, so disappointed, Trev, so disappointed. Well, the thing I got to explain is, it's not, I didn't spoil it for you. It's not a spoiler. It's been like I said, it's been released. It's out. So it's like saying Andrew Lincoln is leaving and calling that a spoiler. It's like, no, they let everybody knows that. It's out, right? You see what I'm saying? It's not like it's been read off of, I don't know, a sheet that was thrown in the garbage or something. It's something that, you know, it's been publicly released as information. Either the actor or somebody official involved with the production of the series or the series from AMC has released it out there. So it's not the same. So when I do videos on it like this, it's news. It's not the same thing. I get what you're saying, that maybe you would have liked to see Troy come back in without us knowing prior. And I agree with you. That would have been really cool if we could have just seen him in an episode and been like, what? I thought he was dead. But they released it, or it's out. So if it's out, it's out. We're going to give our thoughts on it now because it's out. So you can't, you know, when it's out, it's too late. You can't draw it back, right? You see what I'm saying? When everybody knows Andrew Lincoln's leaving, it's out. Even he's going to acknowledge it at Comic-Con and everything like that because it's out there. So it's what it is. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you liked the video today. The Walking Dead being totally different. Talk about, like Taka said, unrecognizable from the comic series, aside from the new characters and villains that are coming in. They're basically, you know, pretty much the same. But totally different, completely different. And also your thoughts on Overkill's The Walking Dead flopping. And final thoughts on the Troy and Daniel returning thing, as well as, do you think they could bring back some other characters such as Madison? Do you think it's possible? Do you think they could do it? I don't know. Probably not. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. Thumb up the video, share it, favorite it. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. Thank you all for subscribing. And I'll see you again soon for another video. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.